Good morning everyone, you are watching Ben from Ben's Adventure 21. In this video, we are having another fire. So, hope you guys can enjoy the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. Don't forget also to share. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Hey, look yonder coming down that railroad track. Look yonder coming, honey, she's coming down that railroad track. It's that orange blossom special, bringing my baby back. They talk about a traveler, the fastest train on the line. Talk about a traveling honey, the fastest train on the line. It's that orange blossom special, rolling down the seaboard line.
That big eight-wheeler rolling down the track means your true loving daddy ain't coming back, 'cause I'm moving on. I'll soon be gone. You are flying too high for my little old sky, so I'm moving on. That big loud whistle as it blew and blew said hello to the Southland, we're coming to you and we're moving on. Oh, hear my song. You had to laugh on me, so I've set you free and I'm moving on. Mr. Fireman, won't you please listen to me, 'cause I got a pretty mama in Tennessee. Keep moving me on, keep rolling on. So shovel the coal, let this rattler roll and keep moving me on. Mr. Engineer, take that throttle in hand. This rattler's the fastest in the southern land. To keep moving me on, keep rolling on. You're gonna ease my mind and put me there on time and keep rolling on. but you just wouldn't listen or pay me no mind. Now I'm moving on, I'm rolling on. You've broken your vow and it's all over now, so I'm moving on. You switched your engine, now I ain't got time for a trifling woman on my main line, 'cause I'm moving on. You done your daddy wrong. I warned you twice, now you can settle the price, 'cause I'm moving on. But someday, baby, when you've had your play, you're gonna want your daddy, but your daddy will say, keep moving on. You stayed away too long. I'm through with you, too bad you're blue, keep moving on.
I rode your ocean liner to Newfoundland, where I made a living in an iron mine. When I got my fill, I went to Nova Scotia, and I fished them salty waters for a time. To Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick, I could see them rocks and cliffs of solid stone, listening to the seagulls calling to each other. Made me miss my darling and my distant home. Canadian Pacific, carry me 3,000 miles through the valleys and the forests, to the sunshine of her smile. Cross the plains and rugged mountains, keep this wandering boy from harm. Canadian Pacific, take me to my baby's arms. The Atlantic disappeared on the horizon, and Quebec lay waiting for me down the track. For a while I drove a truck to keep from starving. In Ontario I was a lumberjack. Manitoba and Saskatchewan and followed, where the wheat fields and the old Red River flows. In the quiet hours your whistle on the prairie touched my heart and set my memories aglow. I could feel the nearness of her warm soft kisses when you rolled into Alberta westward bound. I worked on an oil rig to make some money, for a ticket to the sweetest girl around. Pushing on past Lake Louise and all its splendor, where the trees and Rockies touch the sky above. I got to British Columbia in heaven. On your tracks I made it back to my true love. Canadian Pacific carried me 3,000 miles through the valleys and the forests, to the sunshine of her smile. Across the plains and rugged mountains, you kept this wandering boy from harm. Canadian Pacific, you took me to my baby's arms. Canadian Pacific carried me 3,000 miles through the valleys and the forests.
Where the wild roses grow in Alberta, on the banks of the Gooseberry Lake, there's a rose I suppose that you've heard of. She's as mild as a wild Irish wake. Like a thorn she was born to be contrary. Like a boy it was her joy-raising cane. The wildest rose that ever drove on the prairie, behind the wheel of a big truckload of grain. Little K, little D, little L-A-N-G, her name was just plain Katie Lang. But her main claim to fame was how she sang with a twang and jumped around like a orangutan. Lady Katie Lang, Katie Lang, Katie Lang. She jumped around like a orangutan. Lady Katie Lang. From her home down in Consort, Alberta, near the tracks of that old railroad line, with her hair she could scare old Medusa, while she sang like a young Patsy Cline. It wasn't long till her songs got her landed on the stage with those outrageous clothes. There were skirts over shirts, boots and trousers, hanging down from this wild Alberta rose. Little K, little D, little L-A-N-G, her name was just plain Katie Lang. But her main claim to fame was how she sang with a twang and jumped around like a orangutan. Lady Katie Lang, Katie Lang, Katie Lang. She jumped around like a orangutan. Lady Katie Lang. Now she toured north and south of the border and recorded with many famous names. Though her style it was wild and outrageous, her star just kept rising to fame. With her voice that was new and exciting, she was called to those Juno Awards. She made a leap on the stage and she got one, and took it home to Alberta Boy George. Little K, little D, little L-A-N-G, her name was just plain Katie Lang. But her main claim to fame was how she sang with a twang and jumped around like a orangutan. Lady Katie Lang, Katie Lang, Katie Lang. She jumped around like a orangutan. Lady Katie Lang.
This here next song is a story about the fellow was hitchhiking away down in southern Nevada. Along come this big long truck loaded down with potatoes, and the trucker put on the air brakes and pulled over to the side and said, "Jump in, son, throw in your bag and the one you're carrying." And he said, "Where all you been, son?" Well, he said, "I've been everywhere, man," and that's the name of this one. I was hitchhiking down along the dusty Winnemucca Road. Along came a transport truck with a high canvas covered load. If you're going to Winnemucca, Mac, with me you can ride. I climbed into the cab, I settled down inside. He asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand. I said, listen, bud, I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere, man, I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man, I breathe the mountains there, man. I travel, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere. Where you been, he says. Oh, let me see now, a couple of places. I've been to Reno, Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, South Dakota, Wichita, Tulsa, Ottawa, Oklahoma, Tampa, Panama, Matamala, Paloma, Durango, Baltimore, Salvador, Amarillo, Manitoba, Warren, Kalama, Delaware, and McKellar. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountains there, man. I travel, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere. Is that right, he says, after a long pause. And I says, Boston, Charleston, Dayton, Louisiana, Washington, Houston, Kingston, Texarkana, Monterey, Faraday, Santa Fe, Kalamazoo, Glen Rock, Halifax, Little Rock, Argus, Tennessee, Hennessy, Chippewa, Spirit Lake, Grand Lake, Other Lake, Larder Lake, for Pete's sake. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountains there, man. I travel, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere. This truck driver turned around again to me and said, look, buddy, if you ain't Hank Snow, don't you ever shut up? And I says, Louisville, Nashville, Knoxville, Omaha, New York, Newark, Costa Rica, Utah, Montreal, Springfield, Bakersfield, Shreveport, Hackensack, Cadillac, Fond du Lac, Devonport, Idaho, Mexico, Argentina, Diamantina, Pasadena, Castanina. See what I mean, Jack? I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountains there, man. I travel, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere. And this truck driver turned around again to me and said, look at here, buddy. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of you talking about all these United States cities and towns. I'm a Canadian truck driver, and I want to hear a little bit of the North Country for a change. Well, I said there's always North Bay and heading up into northern Ontario to places like Temagami, New Liskeard, Haileybury, Cobalt, Timmins, Ansonville, Kirkland Lake, Cochrane, Kapuas, Casing, Hearst, Geraldton, Beardsmore, and the Lakehead. And heading from Nipigon down 17 into Scriber, Marathon, White River, Wawa, and Sault Ste. Marie. Heading eastward from the Sioux on 17 to Thessalon, Blind River, Elliott Lake, Manitoulin Island, Espanola, Sudbury, Cache Bay, Sturgeon Falls, and back to North Bay. Heading down south now, number 11 to Huntsville, Bracebridge, Gravenhurst, Aurelia, Barrie, Aurora, Newmarket, and even Stouffville, and another town we all know well called Toronto, Plattsburgh, Albuquerque, Colorado, Winnipeg, Rexburg, Vicksburg, Colorado, Laramie, the Alamo, Chattanooga, Vancouver, Jasper, Nebraska, Alaska, Palaga, Caribou, Waterloo, Kalamazoo, Kansas City, Sioux City, Dodge City. What a pity, I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountains there, man. I travel, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere. Well, this truck driver looked at me again and he said, don't you know nothing about the Maritimes at all, boy? Yeah. He had the audacity to ask me, of course, you Newfoundlanders wouldn't understand that word. That's a big word I learned in Skinner's Pond School, Prince Edward Island. Didn't really mean that, you know, but I had to say it anyhow. Yeah, he says, don't you know nothing about the Maritimes? I said, look, mate, I can tell by the big spuds in the back of your rig you must be a spud picker from Prince Edward Island. I can tell you that much about the Maritimes. You must be friends with them there blue nosers from Nova Scotia and the New Brunswick herring soakers. Not to mention anything, of course, about them squid jigging lads from over Newfoundland. Now, the run of the towns in the Maritimes goes like this, mate. There's Moncton, Chatham, St. John, Campbellton, Grand Falls, Sackville, Newcastle, Fredericton, Charlottetown, Summerside, Glace Bay, Annapolis, Spring Hill, Sydney, Manchester, Glasgow, Antigonish, Windsor, Truro, Gander, Buena Vista, St. John's, Stonor, Bakota, Bass, and Mister. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts, fair man. I breathe the mountains there, man. But there's just one place I haven't been. Tramp on the gas and roller, man. Soon we're gonna be there, man. Soon we're gonna be there.
Liner to Newfoundland, where I made a living in iron mine. When I got my fill, I went to Nova Scotia, and I fished the salty waters for a time. Passing through Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick, I could see the rocks and cliffs of solid stone, listening to the seagulls calling to each other. Made me miss my darling down my distant home. Canadian Pacific, carry me 3,000 miles through the valleys and the forests to the sunshine of her smile. Across the plains and the rugged mountains, keep this wandering boy from home. Canadian Pacific, take me to my baby's arms. The Atlantic disappeared on the horizon, and Quebec lay waiting for me down the track. For a while I drove a truck to keep from starving. In Ontario I was a lumberjack. Manitoba and Saskatchewan and followed, where the wheat fields and the old Red River flows. In the quiet hours your whistle on the prairie touched my heart and set my memories aglow. I could feel the nearness of her warm sweet kisses when you rode into Alberta westward bound. I worked on an oil rig to make some money for a ticket to the sweetest girl around. Pushing on past Lake Louise in all its splendor, where the trees and Rockies touch the sky above. I got to British Columbia and heaven. On your tracks I made it back to my true love. Canadian Pacific, 3,000 miles through the valleys and the forests to the sunshine of her smile. Across the plains and the rugged mountains, keep this wandering boy from home. Canadian Pacific, take me to my baby's arms. Canadian Pacific, carry me 3,000 miles through the valleys and the forests to the sunshine of her smile.
Put another log on the fire, cook me up some bacon and some beans, and go out to the car and change the tire. Wash my socks and sew my old blue jeans. Come on, baby, you can fill my pipe, and then go fetch my slippers and boil me up another pot of tea. Then put another log on the fire, babe, and come and tell me why you're leaving me. Now don't Don't I let you wash the car on Sunday? Don't I warn you when you're getting fat? Ain't I gonna take you fishing with me someday? Well, a man can't love a woman more than that. Ain't I always nice to your kid sister? Don't I take her driving every night? So sit here at my feet, 'cause I like you when you're sweet, and you know it ain't feminine to fight. So put another log on the fire, cook me up some bacon and some beans, go out to the car and lift it up and change the tire, wash my socks and sew my old blue jeans. Come on, baby, you can fill my pipe and then go fetch my slippers and boil me up another pot of tea. Then put another log on the fire, babe, and come and tell me why you're leaving me.
On walking through my dreams at night. I'd like to know what her intentions are and what she's like. Is she just teasing me? Does she belong to someone else? If she don't, I'd like to have her all to myself.
Well, I have dreamed of girls before, but none that could compare. And this one looks like she could live on tender love and care. She's just as pretty as the flowers that bloomed in spring. And to win her heart and soul, I'd give most anything.
Who's that girl that keeps on walking through my dreams at night? I'd like to know what her intentions are and what she's like. Is she just teasing me? Does she belong to someone else? If she don't, I'd like to have her all to myself.
Can sleep and have my dreams of her and make it memories to keep. Some sweet day I might wake up and she'll be by my side. Then I'll ask her if she'd like to be my loving bride.
Who's that girl that keeps on walking through my dreams at night? I'd like to know what her intentions are and what she's like. Is she just teasing me? Does she belong to someone else? If she don't, I'd like to have her all to myself. Dreams at night. I'd like to know what her intentions are and what she's like. Is she just teasing me? Does she belong to someone else? If she don't, I'd like to have her all to myself. But if she don't, I'd like to have her all to myself.